God dag och välkommen, jag heter Jacoblee, and today I'm going to show you how to make your headphones, no matter what they are, sound like reference headphones, or at least get the most out of your headphones and get the most accurate sound reproduction possible. Now, we are going to be using a software called Equalizer APO. You can get it from this website. I will put the link down in the description, but if you Google search Equalizer APO, you should find a link that will take you to this website. You'll download it and install it. Now, once you install it, you will get a screen that comes up, asks you if you want to run the configurator. You'll say yes, and right here, a window will pop up, and it'll have a tab for playback devices and capture devices. We're going to be using playback because we're going to be developing an equalizer for our headphones. So you'll select your headphones, you'll hit OK, it'll install, it'll tell you to reboot the computer, go ahead and reboot it. Should reboot, blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't apply any changes, so I'm going to say no. A screen similar to this will pop up, but it'll have several things right here. I'm just going to add something so I can show you what to do. You're going to want to get rid of all that. There should be a little red subtraction sign. Just hit that on all of them until the screen's clear. So up here, you'll see this tab. You're going to select your device that you just installed. I'm using the WH-1000 XM4 stereos. And then this tab right here, you shouldn't have to mess with. It should just read whatever your device is, stereo, mono, whatever. So that should read automatically. Let's move that back over here. And what we will do now is we're going to add a configuration file. And then no file is selected because we haven't made one yet. We are going to name what we want it to do. So what we're going to do is flatten the profile of our headphones, and that will make it closer to a reference headphone. I've already done that, so I'm just going to name another one, flatten XM5, whatever. It doesn't matter. Whoops. Need to new. You're going to create a new text document, whatever you name it, and then click on it and hit open. So now that'll be right there. Now to open this configuration file to edit in Equalizer APO, what we're going to do is hit this green arrow button, and that'll open another tab for that configuration file. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a graphic equalizer. This is a 15 band. You can use a 31 band if you want. To get more detailed, but for what we're doing today, I'm just going to use the 15. The process will be the exact same for a 31 band. It just has more adjustment spots that you can mess around with. So the next step, we need to look at the frequency response chart for our headphones. So no matter what headphone you're using, you're going to go to rtings.com, that's rtings.com, and you're going to search your headphones. So I'm going to just search mine again, Sony XM4. There it is, right there. So if you have a different headphone, this is going to look a little different for you. But what you're going to want to do is scroll down until you see this, the sound profile. Click on that. And this will give you the frequency response chart. What this is it shows you the relative loudness of different frequencies of your headphones. So you can see the XM4s, they're bumping out a little more bass down here, gets up a little bit more, but once you get into the mid ranges, it's closer to the middle. That's good if you want really accurate sound reproduction. And then right over here, it gets a bit squirrely. And then above 10,000, it looks like there's a lot of variation. So open this up, have this right over here, and then have Equalizer APO open right here. And what you can do is you can drag these or change these numbers right here. it's going to do the exact same thing. This just corresponds to the data points on the chart right here. So what we're going to do, like I said, we want to flatten out our headphones to make them reproduce sound as accurately as possible. So what you're going to do at 25 hertz, we're going to find 25 over here. So boom, there's 25. You don't have to get it exactly, just get it pretty close. So it looks like we're about 6 decibels high at 25 hertz. So we're going to come over here and say -6. And then you're going to do the same thing for 40. So at 40 hertz, you're going to come over here. Boop, 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 boop. 40, we're about 6 decibels high again. The left is 6 decibels, the right is 5 decibels. So what I do is I just average them, so -5.5. And so we're dropping the bass down right now for this area over here. So come up to 63. Because the bass is high, it's higher than a neutral headphone would be. So at 63, we're about 5. We'll say 5.5 because that one was 5.8. Drop that down again. Now you might be thinking, why would you want to reduce bass? That's crazy. A lot of people do like a lot of bass. I like bass. But what we're doing is this is just going to give us a starting point to further adjust our equalizer. And there's a couple ways to do that. I'll show you down here. Okay, so the next one's 100 hertz. I'm going to come right up here. And you can see the 1600 there, it's grayed out. I think that's because there's a lot of variance between headphones, so your mileage may vary. This can be a little subjective, especially when you get right here, so you're just gonna have to listen to see what sounds best in your headphones. So now we've got our flattened profile. One thing I forgot to do is to add control device. This step is telling the equalizer what device it's supposed to control. That's a really important step. So you're going to uncheck select all devices. You're going to come down and select your headphones. Boom. I just like that on top. Okay. So this is what the equalizer looks like right now. When you first do it, what it's going to look like is you're going to have some red peaking right here. That means that your digital to analog converter or digital audio converter is peaking out and it's not processing that signal correctly. So what you're going to want to do is hit this button right here, and that will reduce the highest point to basically 0 decibels. So it'll be at the neutral response. That will make most stuff quieter, and so you will have to turn up your volume a little bit more, but that'll be an equalized frequency response curve and it'll be more accurate. So go ahead and start listening to some music. Turn that off, listen, give it a listen, and then turn that on while you're listening, and you'll be able to hear the difference in the music. Once you do that, what you can do is save or export this curve, and I already have one, XM4 flatten. I'm just going to call this XM5 flatten just for a placeholder. And then you can start moving this around. If you want more bass, go ahead and kick that up here. See, we're getting that peaking down there. That means our digital audio converter analog. Is it digital audio or analog? Digital to analog. Okay, that's what I thought. It's telling us that our DAC can't handle those levels, audio levels, and so we're just going to hit normalize curve, like I said, and it'll drop that down. It will make it quieter the higher your peaks are. So keep that in mind. You'll have to turn your headphones up farther. So let's say you've messed around with it and you've done all this stuff, you've equalized it, and you're like, actually, I think this is starting to sound like crap, and I don't want to have to do all this again. Well, that's why we exported it once we got that neutral frequency response. You can import XM5 flatten, and it'll reset everything. So you can reset it, and what you can also do is add another equalizer and just leave this one alone, and you can start playing around with this. And so basically what that does is it stacks the values. If you have like -5 on your flattened or your corrected equalizer, and then you add that 5 back over here, it'll just be at 0, or the original value. Not 0, but so right here we had -11 on that doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, because it's adjusted for that. So you'll have -11 over here on the 25 hertz. If you're like, well, I actually think 25 hertz boosted up a little bit sounds better, it'll be 7.4 here, so it'll be closer to like -3.5 instead of -11, because like I said, those values stack. And so now you have this equalizer, and you can play around with that one to make it sound however you want. And you're starting from a neutral profile because of this equalizer up here. And you can just play around with this one. You decide, I don't like the way any of that sounds. You can just reset the response, and it'll drop it all back to a neutral profile. So this process is going to be exactly the same with whatever headphones you have. I personally really like the flatter response, or the flatter frequency response on these Sonys. It let you hear some of the mid ranges and the high bass a little better. It didn't get muddied out by this mid bass and stuff over here. In some music, it does sound better with more bass, like a lot of electronic with, it's basically just like all bass and then all like high mids and up. You don't have to worry about muddying this low mid as much. So maybe bumping that bass up sounds really good. The cool thing about this is you can add another configuration file, and you can just turn these on and off from here. So if you have one for, let's say, electronic music, you have one for video games, you have one for whatever you want, and you can customize equalizers for each genre or each program you use. Like you're listening to podcasts, and then you're listening to EDM, or then you want to listen to instrumental. You can have different profiles to make each one of those sound as good as possible. And it's really fun, at least for me, to just kind of play around with this. So for video games, I keep it at a flat response. You don't want those bass levels drowning out like footsteps and stuff. So keeping it a flat response is really good for video games. But anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I hope it's useful for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm pretty new with this software. I haven't used it very long, but I have played around with it a little bit. And so, like I said, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. We'll probably both be able to learn something. But anyway, be sure to be kind to someone today, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.